We can try to finish it, but the bottom line is the money that's coming in from our increasing property taxes is not being put back into the schools. There are a couple $2 billion that then the state government is using for whatever purpose, often for tax cuts for businesses and other groups. So I made a handout. It's a 2-page handout, and I'm going to run through that a little bit. But do you have the last couple? Team last. Okay.
While spending on Texas students remains flat, despite higher expectations and rising costs. That also doesn't seem right, does it? So what's the solution? Money intended for our schools should stay in our schools. The state should invest more in our programs, teachers, and students. Their future, our state's future, is worth every penny.
Okay, thank you for your patience, but I thought that was a good little video. So, just a couple basic things. You know, who pays for public schools? You do. The taxpayers do. And then it comes through your local, state, and federal taxes. And why does money matter? And someone mentioned it earlier. You know, it costs money to have smaller classes, to have high-quality teachers and retain them, and to have, you know, let students have interesting, engaging learning. It just all costs money. And then who decides how much to fund the schools is the legislature, which hopefully you all voted on. Those of you that are old enough, we had record turnout in voting, which is another one of my projects. It was the highest voter turnout yesterday since 1970. So, the last week turnout 33%, and yesterday was 53% in state classes, which is awesome. So the state decides how much overall, how many bad classes, and then what part they pay and what part they take directly from the property taxes. And as it said, what should be happening is the cup should be growing. We had a $5.3 billion cut in 2011 that has not been fully restored, so we're still coming out of a hole. But instead of the state holding it maybe 50%, which would be ideal, and Donna Howard has proposed that every session, although it has not been adopted yet. As our property tax rises, they're just paying less. So it's not really helping. Someone mentioned earlier, I think it was our CFO at the initial meeting, that there are weights and measures. So the way they do it is they fund the schools. The state takes all the money that they're going to use, and you get paid. The school district gets paid based on how many kids show up each day at a certain time when it's attendance. It's not. It could be you have a certain number of teachers for the number of students that should be there. Someone's sick, they don't show up at 10 a.m., the funding, they don't get counted for that day. There's some archaic methodology to how our schools are funded. There are weights about how much it costs to live in Austin, how much it costs for teachers, how much extra it costs to teach a student who's not a native English speaker. All of that, it has not been updated since 1984. It is time to do that. And those of us working with the legislature have been trying. That's why it's important to vote for legislators who support the public schools. So, you know, who picks the legislators? You guys do. So once the funds go to the district, the school board members with the superintendent determine how to allocate it within the school district. So right now, as we've mentioned, we don't have enough to do what we need to do. And so I know everybody's really anxious and we want to be sort of mad at someone. And that's why we wanted to talk to you about how to get to really the bottom of it, because the system needs to change. And I have been at the legislature, and I will give an example of advocacy in a few minutes. But when you go there, number one, they want to hear kids. Number two would be parents. Number three would be teachers. Then principals, superintendents, school board members, lobbyists are last. So they love students. They want to hear from you. And we are just miles seemed like a good opportunity. So if you want to flip to the back, I just want to bring it closer to home and talk about how it affects AISD. So AISD is the largest donor of recapture. And again, Texas is one of, I don't know how many states, but we really are, we're trying to have equity. We don't want kids in one district to have a ton and kids in another district to have nothing. So the way they have done this, and Robin Hood was adopted in early 90s. They look at your property value. So Austin has really valuable property, and it's getting more and more expensive. The way they figure out your recapture payment, and some of you, most of you have done that more recently than I have, is the number of students in your district over the value of your property for your property taxes. So as the number of students decline, which they are doing now, the cost of living is forcing people out, gentrification is pushing kids and families out, charters are taking students from the public schools. All of this makes the numerator smaller, and then the denominator's growing, which is why our recapture is just ballooning. We are, as they said, giving $673 million to the state. It's going up fast. It was 500 something last year. I think Austin alone gives about a quarter back to the state, but it started with just a few districts paying recapture, and now there are a lot. And so it's a big issue. It's a big issue for everyone in the state, and every kid deserves a good education. But specifically, we have a pretty good case in terms of McCallum Fine Arts. McCallum's not a magnet, and I want to be sure you guys know that. Magnets are funded differently. We have some magnets, we have some programs. The way McCallum is funded is we are getting $328,200 each year for McCallum Fine Arts, and that funds 4 teachers. It funds the Fine Arts coordinator and a part-time clerk. That's it. We don't get transportation dollars. We don't get weighted GT funding for kids in the program. We just get that. It's not a ton. It's not going to make up $30 million for sure. But what we do is we bring money. We are net positive. We bring money back into the district. Because at recent count, the number of students coming back from homeschool, from charters, and from private schools, this year of the Fine Arts Academy students, 68 of them came back in that category. And we get funded on a per pupil basis. So that brought $486,812 in per pupil funding. So that made our net positive that we're making money for the district of $158,612. So that we have sent that on to the district. I mean, that's a big deal. They're not going to wipe out something that's making real money. They do want every kid in every school to have what they need and to have enriching programs. In fact, I recently wrote a letter to all the trustees. I love to do that. They're very long. And I said, we don't need to cut these programs, we need more of them. So I don't think anyone wants to cut programs that are helping kids. I don't think anyone wants to hurt the teachers. But the way to make the big pie bigger is for all of us to march our bottoms over the Capitol and tell them they need to fund our schools. It is part of our Texas Constitution. Article 7 requires the legislature to fund the public schools. And one thing I would say is, so not only if they were to cut it, would we lose the per pupil funding, our capture would go up. Because kids would leave. It's a double bad. So I think we've got a good argument. And there are lots of great things, and I'm not going to list them all. The kids did a better job than I did about what an inclusive community is. I had a kid who was in the Fine Arts Academy. It's not separated. You don't know who's in it, you don't know who's not. I have a daughter there now who's taking 3 or 4 classes that are Fine Arts. It's an awesome gem that we have here. It's a beautiful, cooperative school, and it's a welcoming place. And so I would hope that we can lead out of love instead of fear and talk about what is great about our school and not out of fear of losing what we have, because I really think that is much more effective. And then the only other thing I want to say before I turn it over to our fabulous community organizer is just give an example, because it sounds overwhelming. People are like, I don't want to write letters, I don't want to go to the Capitol. And 8 years ago, when my oldest son, who is now a senior in college, was a freshman, we found out, all the 9th grade parents found out that suddenly every kid starting that grade was going to have to take 15 end of course exams, pass them, be 15% of their grade, much higher level than it used to be 3 tax tests they had to take, basic skills. And we didn't know what to do. We were barely in high school. And so it started in Austin, right? It started in Austin. We learned about it at a meeting in Anderson. I called Mr. Garrison and said, Mr. Garrison, what's going on? We need a meeting. And he likes me better now, but that kind of scared him. What we ended up doing was a group of parents came together. There were lawyers, there were journalists, I was a policy person, one was a child psychiatrist. And we sat down and we did our research and we said, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. This is required by the federal government. No other states do this. So we met with all sorts of different people. Like I'm hoping we will bring in students across the district. Maybe make it a statewide thing. And we ended up creating TAMSA, which they called Moms Against Drunk Testing, but really it was Texas advocating for meaningful student assessment. And for our work, we built a statewide grassroots organization. It was fun, it was empowering, it gave parents a voice. Now there are 5 end-of-course exams. The pass, you do not have to pass a physics end-of-course exam. Thank heavens, I would have no children in college. We would all still be in McCallum. And then we got some of our laws passed for now that these, if you can't pass a couple of them, you can get a graduation committee. That law is coming up again. We're going to need you on that. But basically, it was telling, and we had from Dan Patrick to Wendy Davis all wanting to be in the picture with us. Everybody brought everybody together. And so it was just a picture of democracy in action. So I just want you guys to know it's not hard, it's fun. And then I'm going to be quiet and hand it over to Janice.
Okay, Allison has more vouchers if you need, or sorry, with volunteer forms. If you need more volunteer forms, if you raise your hand, we'll come around and bring them to you. I am so proud of this community. And I just, look around this room, there is power in this room. I don't know if there's any voice more powerful than a parent's, except maybe a student's voice. So we can make a huge difference here. And I want to speak just a little bit about what really good community organizing looks like. And I also want to reiterate, again, just in case it's not already clear, the task force is a group of volunteers that are doing an extraordinary and important and thankless task. And the board makes the final decision and they're strung up, right? So that's what we really want to do is support them. And I appreciate the tone with which we came to the event. That was a big part of why we organized. And I really want to say thank you to my partners up here, but also all of the parents who helped put together the communications that went out and spread them and everything, and you coming here. So thank you. So just a little bit about community organizing. When we get mad about something, a lot of times it's easy to lose sight of the big picture. And so when you're community organizing, it's important to have as many different voices as possible, to have as diverse a representation as possible, to listen as much as you can to the various voices and how different people are impacted differently by different outcomes. By doing that, we have a chance to really align ourselves behind an objective that everyone feels included in. So that takes something, and there's not an easy solution to how to do that, but it starts with having that intent moving forward. So I also am really proud that we didn't go in there throwing some other program under the bus, in a Game of Thrones situation, where we're like, fighting over the scraps, when really, the issue doesn't lie in that room. Right, so I'm just really excited about that and the power and we're going to need to reach outside of this community to really develop the kind of strength that we want to get our message through to the state. Now, you don't have to participate in making a difference at the state level. There's lots of different ways, and I'm just going to go through the short term and then begin to talk about the long-term opportunities, and then I'll hand it back over to Allison. And then at a certain point, though, and throughout the rest of the night of this conversation, if you guys could be listening for where do I want to participate and where do I want to take a leadership role. And students in the room, can I have a show of hands of my students in the room? Okay, great. Students in the room, your taking a leadership role will make an enormous difference. If it's coming from you, that'll speak volumes. So when I say leader, I'm including you. So there are, you also, many of you have a handout. If you don't, we only have more of the volunteer forms, so If you don't have a copy, we will be sending it out. And share with the person next to you, please. So, number one, giving input online. There is a link that you can go to Austin AISD. We're starting in the short term with making a difference with the board's decision. Okay? So the board will be making a decision. It's unlikely that we will be cut, but there may be other important issues that you care about that you want to make, you want to have a say about. And so going to austinISD.mindmixer.com, you'll see the link on there, and you can tell the task force and the trustees, that the Fine Arts Academy provides, what it provides your family and programs that you care about provide its students in the district. Number two, you can email or call the trustees. I don't believe that all of the email information and all of the phone numbers, but there's either one or the other online. And the link is provided in item number 2. And also, if your student lives outside of the McCallum attendance zone, please indicate in your email which trustee district you live in. And if you have a personal relationship with any of the trustees, feel free to make a difference in that way as well. Number 3, attending the next task force meeting on November 14th. I'm not sure if we're going to be heavily organizing around that. I think a few people being there and listening to what's happening would be a good idea. I don't necessarily think we need to show up en masse like we did tonight. I think where we need that to happen is at the Board of Trustees meeting on Monday, November 26th. Showing up, signing up to speak. I think they take 30 speakers that night. And then there are instructions on the other side of this handout about how to sign up. So there's different ways to sign up. You can sign up online, you can call in, and then there's showing up in person on the day of. So you want to pay attention to the time frames and make sure that your voice is heard. All of that is listed on this form. Then also contacting your legislator. So you want to tell them that you support public education and demand that they adequately fund public schools. That message cannot be stated, too many times. And there's a link about how you can do that. Again, we invite you to attend the rally day on February 25th. Don't worry, we will put this message out again. There's a rally that's going from the TEA building, which is on 11th Street and San Jacinto? 17th and Commerce. That's where the TA building is? Okay. I'm not going to tell you where it's going from. I know that it's ending at the Capitol. I don't want to confuse anybody. But there will be more details online about that. And then the other thing we want to be doing right now, between now and the board meeting and between now and the rally, is building alliances with other schools, with students and parents from other schools. And many of you have children in other schools as well, so that should be relatively easy. There's an opportunity to sign up and join to get alerts from the ACPTA, and the link is also on there. And then volunteer to spearhead a student advocacy group that you can lead and build. So there are lots and lots of opportunities in the short run. And I'm just going to say a couple things about the long run and then hand it over. So again, building alliances, establishing common goals, and identity would be, when we'll likely be breaking up into subgroups. So when that happens, when you get together, find your common goal and your focus, and then create a clear strategy and communication structure so that everybody's informed moving forward and the communication structure works for everyone. If you're going to meet in person, I highly recommend that you do it, if you stagger the times. So somebody, for example, who has a night job might be able to meet in the day. Somebody who, so you make it easy for people to participate and don't have to be the same time all the time that the same people can't show up. And then, I think, and then create an action plan and implement. You want to have at least one person accountable to ensure that the implementation moves forward. That's about it. So I'm going to hand it over to Allison for more about long-term.
So as you can tell, there's 2 streams that we have to pay attention to. We have to pay attention to the AISD budget process, and we laid out some short-term steps for that. And that will probably be decided in June. So this November is not the last time you want to advocate about that, but we wanted to give you some short-term suggestions on that. The second stream is how do we get the state legislature to increase funding for schools across the state of Texas.